Hello students, welcome to biology class. In this class, we are discussing certain genetically modified crops, right? In the previous class, we were discussing the chapter biotechnology and its application. In the biotechnology and its application, we were discussing about what are the possible uses of the biotechnology as per the agriculture is concerned, right? We have already discussed about the Green Revolution, right? And Norman E. was considered, is considered as a father of the Green Revolution, right? And there are so many problems which are associated with this Green Revolution, that one of the problem which was associated with the Green Revolution was the use of the agrochemicals, right? When we use certain agrochemicals such as pesticides, such as fungicides, they have some issues related to the environment, right? We all know about that. And later on, what was the scenario? The genetically modified crops, they came into existence. That was a genetically modified crops. So actually, in this case, what exactly the scenario is, in genetically modification, there is one process which is called as a gene cloning. In the gene cloning, there is a manipulation in the genetic system, or you can say there is a manipulation in the total number of the gene, so that a desired gene product can be formed, right? This is called as a genetic modification. If we talk about the genetic modification, this could be of two types. Some could be the gene insertion and some could be the gene deletion or the subtraction. Let's talk about the gene deletion, or let's talk about the gene subtraction first. With the help of genetic engineering, what we do, we delete a certain chromosome, or you can say not exactly chromosome, sorry for that. We delete certain genes, one or the two genes out of the whole genome, right? This comes under a gene subtraction. When we add some genes into the whole genome of a particular plant, this is called as a gene addition, right? So basically, in the formation of genetically modified crop, we follow two procedures, right? So we are discussing strategies for genetic modification. Right, students? Because we are concerned here with the possibilities, or you can say with the relationship with agriculture, right? And what we have to do, we have to improve the crop yield, we have to make it resistant, right? We need a large amount of particular crop to combat with the problem that is a population, or you can say the overpopulation, right? In the strategies of genetic modification, one thing which you need to remember is that a gene cloning method came into existence. Cloning. This came into existence, right, students? This gene cloning. And with the help of these gene cloning, what was the case? There was a manipulation right? There was a manipulation in what? Manipulation in the whole genome, right? Manipulation in genome, right? In the manipulation of genome, there was a inherent changes, right? That inherit from the one generation to another, and that inherent changes leads to some changes in the conventional system, right? So this was a manipulation in the genome, right? So it leads to the formation of the desired product, right? Or increase or like changes in the conventional cropping system. So manipulation of genome, desired gene inserted with the help of what? With the help of genetic engineering, right? And when the desired gene is inserted, what was the scenario? There was a changes in the conventional system, or you can say inherent changes. So this was the actual thing, right? With this, we have a good variety of crop. They are resistant. They can withdraw a large amount of nutrient from the soil, right? So this was the actual thing which we have to go for, that is changes in the conventional system of agriculture. That's why students, the gene cloning was implemented in the field of agriculture, right? So to talk about the strategies for the genetic modification, there are two strategies. One is called as a gene insertion and another is called as a gene deletion, or you can say gene subtraction. So let's take all these one by one. So first we have gene, right, addition. So what do you mean by gene addition? Cloning used to alter genetic system, because we are considering plant, so I will use word over here, plant. Cloning used to alter the genetic system of plant by what? By adding one or two genes, or there may be a number of genes. So we have talked about that there is addition of one or two genes, right? The first was a gene addition, which is a cloning used to alter genetic system of a plant by adding one or two gene, that is called as a gene addition, right? Next we have a gene subtraction. Second we have gene subtraction. Right? In the gene subtraction, genetic engineering is employed so that one or two gene is deleted, right, from the whole plant genome, right? So how we can write? Genetic engineering they are employed on plants to delete one or two genes. Two genes out of whole genome. So what we have done, we have deleted this, we have deleted one or two genes out of the whole genome. This come under the gene subtraction, right? So we have added one or two genes and we have deleted one or two genes depending upon the need of that particular plant, so that we can make that particular plant pest resistant, or you can say we can increase the yield, right? So let's talk about let's talk about genetically modified organisms. So we have modified organisms. Right. So in the genetically modified organism, this could be employed in case of the algae, right? Some plant cells, right? Some could animal cells, or you can say bacteria, or this could be the fungi, right? So what are the genetically modified organisms? This could be algae, plant, animal, bacteria or fungi. In this case, what we do, in algae, we have algae, plants. These are employed in any of the case. Could be in animal, plants, bacteria, fungi, etc. So in this, certain modification is done. We have talked about the certain modification like the gene addition or the deletion. That modification is done, right? Right? Or you can say genetic constitution or altered, right? So we have altered the genetic constituent, right? We have altered the genetic constituent with the help of what? With the help of genetic engineering. With the help of genetic engineering, we have changed the genetic constituent, and later on a new products, or you can say the new cells are formed, which are called as the genetically modified organisms, right? So at the end, what we get is a genetic modified, because we have modified the whole genomes of genetically modified organisms. So this was the basic thing, right? This could be employed in terms of the algae, plants, animals, bacteria and fungi. In this, the genetic constituents are altered with the help of genetic engineering, and the genetically modified organisms are prepared. This is a genetically modified organisms, right? This could be, if someone asks you that algae can be a genetically modified, yes, it can be. So plants, animals, bacteria and fungi, this could be the genetically modified organisms, right? Now let's talk about what are the characteristics of plants which are genetically modified, or why we need a genetically modified plants. First of all, the plant should be more tolerant to abiotic stress, right? What are the characteristics of the genetically modified crops? While talking about the characteristics, one thing you should keep in mind, that these crops should be better than the conventional crop. So what we have to write, that the plants should be resistant, or they should be resistant to the abiotic stress, right? Plants are resistant, or they should be resistant. We have made the resistant crop as well. Plants are resistant to abiotic stress, right? As the name indicates, abiotic, that means a non-living, right? Let's talk about the abiotic stress. For example, what we have, let me write over here. For example, drought, right? Drought, cold condition, a very cold condition, and the plant should be resistant to that drought, cold, or you can say hot environment. Right? So this is the first characteristics, that the plants are resistant to the abiotic stress. That could be the drought, cold, and the hot environment. Let's talk about the next. Next is reduced reliance on chemicals. Right? Reduced reliance on chemicals. Let's talk about this. If we talk about chemicals, what kind of chemicals that we employ in particular plants? That are agrochemicals, right? Agrochemicals. Right? Can you name one agrochemical, students? For example, we have pesticide, we have fungicide, etc. Right? These are called as an agrochemical. So at the end, what we need is a pest resistant plant. Right? So it gives what? It gives pest resistance plant. Pest resistant plant. So students, this was the second point, that is a reduced reliance on the chemicals, and the chemicals could be some agrochemicals such as pesticides, fungicides, and these have a negative impact on the environment. So we have produced certain kinds of plant, for example, we have BT cotton, so that are the pest resistant, right? So this was the second point, that is in the characteristics of the genetically modified crops, that they are not relying on the chemicals, right? Help to reduce what? Post-harvest system. Post-harvest system means when the crop is fully grown, we have to harvest it, right? And we have to employ a simple mechanism on those plants so that it could be easily harvested. Suppose we are working on some plant, and that plant, or you can say some tree that is of good height, right? So we cannot, it will be very difficult to harvest the fruits out of them. So we can make such type of plants that are short heighted. For example, we have made the papaya plant, and that is a short heighted, like within a short height they give fruits, right? So they help to reduce the post harvest system. Very important also. So first was the abiotic stress resistant, second was the chemical, we cannot rely on the chemical, and third we have the post harvest system, right? Next we have increased efficiency of minerals in soil. Increased efficiency of mineral usage by the plant which is present in the soil, right? Normally we know that the plant extracts the nutrients from the soil, right? When they take the nutrient from the soil becomes nutrient deficient within a very short duration of time, right? What we have to do, we are making such type of crops, they can efficiently harvest those chemicals from the soil without making the soil deficient, or you can say without exhausting the nutrients in soil. Nutrient in soil. Right? So, without exhausting the nutrient in the soil, without exhausting the nutrient in the soil, we can maintain the nutrient quality, we can maintain the minerals in the soil, and this is the efficient, like the increased efficiency of the mineral usage in the soil, and without exhausting the nutrient which is present in the soil, and this is very important as per the genetically modified crop is concerned, right. Last but not the least, last but very important, increase nutrient in crop, right. To increase the nutrient content in particular crop, the genetically modified crops are employed. For example, we have a golden rice. Golden rice is rich in the beta carotene content, right, and they are rich in the iron as well, right. Beta carotene, they are rich in beta carotene and iron content. Right. So, this was an example of the increase, another importance or application of the genetically modified, that is that we can increase the nutrient quality in the crop. For example, we have already made the golden rice. Why it is called the golden rice? Because the color of that rice is almost a yellowish color. So, we have named it as a golden rice that has a very good amount of the beta carotene and the iron content. Right, students? So, students note down this. So, students, hope you have noted down this. This was the application, or you can say what are the characteristics of the genetically modified crops, right. So, hope you have noted down this. Now, let us talk about the history behind golden rice. Students, hope you remember, hope you know the scientific name of the rice. Rice is Oryza sativa, right. Oryza sativa. We have one golden rice. Made by Ingo Potricus. Ingo Potricus, right. So, this was a golden rice which was made by the Ingo Potricus, and the golden rice is rich in what? Rich in vitamin A, rich in vitamin A and iron content. Right, they are rich in the vitamin A and the iron content that help in absorption of the beta carotene, right. Beta carotene, which is essential for the body, which is very much essential for the body, that is a beta carotene. and we all know the iron is present. Iron is important for the hemoglobin, right? So help in absorption of the beta carotene, right? To talk about why we are taking this as the golden rice, because its color is like a yellowish color, so the name is given a golden rice, right? So rice, we all know rice is Oryza sativa. Oryza sativa, Oryza sativa, right? Right, this is a Oryza sativa. In this, the genetic modify, like a gene is inserted for the vitamin A, like the same process for the recombinant DNA technology. The gene which is coding for the vitamin A and iron is inserted into the Oryza sativa with the like recombinant DNA technology, and it is inserted into the Oryza sativa, and this vitamin A was extracted from the daffodils. Or vitamin A. What was the source of vitamin A? It was taken from the daffodils. Or what's the scientific name of daffodils? That is a Narcissus Pseudonarcissus. This is a source of the vitamin A, that is a Narcissus and the Pseudonarcissus, and this gene for like gene from vitamin A from this particular plant, this was extracted, and we have used, or basically they have used one vector, that was an Agrobacterium, or you can say the TI plasmid. They have used Agrobacterium. They have used Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Agrobacterium tumefaciens as what? As plasmid, or you can say as vector, or the carrier molecule, and they have inserted this particular gene which codes for the vitamin A into the Oryza sativa, right? Normally this Oryza sativa this golden rice look like a white rice, but there is one difference, in the center core it is a yellowish in color. That's why the name is given, that is a golden rice, right? So it has same husk, right? It has crinky and scabrous husk like that of normal rice, right? Crinky scabrous husk like that of normal rice, but has yellow core in seeds, right? That's why, and this yellow color is because of the beta carotene. This yellow color is because of beta carotene, right? It is because of the beta carotene, that is, it is yellow in color, right? It is yellow in color, right? And it is a different, like this is the only difference between the normal rice and this golden rice, right? So this was a story behind the golden rice. So students, come at this side again. Golden rice was discovered by the Ingo Botrytis, right? And this is rich in the vitamin A and the iron content, help in absorption of the beta carotene, right, which is very important. Rice, normally rice is called as a Oryza sativa, right? It has a vitamin A, and vitamin A was taken from the Narcissus, Pseudo-Narcissus, and it is a daffodil, right? The plasmid or the vector which is used for transferring the DNA which codes for the DNA which codes for this vitamin A and iron is taken in the vector naming Agrobacterium tumefaciens, and it is transferred into the rice, right? So students come at this side, and what happened? The ultimate, there is a formation of the golden rice. Golden rice is different from the normal rice just because it has a yellow color, right? This yellow color of the core is due to the beta carotene, right? So students, this was the golden rice, or the story behind the golden rice. Now let's talk about genetically modified organism in pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals means the medicine industry, right? So students, do you know a leech? What do you mean by a leech? Hirudinaria. So we have genetically modified organisms, or we can say genetically modified crops in pharmaceuticals. Students, do you know leech? Right? This leech, Annelida hirudinaria, this is rich in, or you can say the like the scientific name of the leech is Hirudino or Hirudo medicinalis. The scientific name of the leech is Hirudo medicinalis, right? This leech is rich in one chemical which is called as a hirudin. They are rich in what? They are rich in hirudin. And students, what do you mean by hirudin? And what's the uses of hirudin? Hirudin acts as an anticoagulant, and it is used at the time of the surgery, right? So this is an anticoagulant. Hope you know about. What do you mean by anticoagulant? Coagulation means a blood clotting. So this is an anticoagulant, right? So it is rich in hirudin, and this is an anticoagulant. In the old biotechnology, this hirudin was made in the certain microorganisms such as E. coli, and some other vectors were used, that was Agrobacterium tumefaciens, right? And this was cultured in the certain microorganism, but this came out to be very costly. Then later on, what the gene which codes for this particular hirudin, they are transferred into the Brassica napus, right? So, right, when they are transferred into the Brassica napus, what will happen? The seeds which were produced in that Brassica, right, they were having hirudin, right, and after the downstream processing or purification or extraction process, this hirudin was taken out, and this was comparatively less costly as the old method, the old biotechnology was considered when we were making hirudin in the microorganism, right. So this was comparatively most effective. So in this case, what was done? Gene for hirudin was inserted into the Brassica napus. They are inserted into the Brassica napus, and when the seeds were harvested, seeds of Brassica, when they were harvested, right, they were rich in what? They were rich in hirudin, right. right? This is the anticoagulant which is used at the time of the surgery. It acts as an anti-clotting agent or anticoagulant, right? So this was extracted by the downstream processing, and in this case, when the gene was transferred to the brassica napus, a vector was used. That was, I forgot to write here, that was a brassica napus by TI plasmid, or you can say Agrobacterium, right? Earlier microorganisms were used to culture this, right? But later on, when it was inserted into the brassica napus, this was comparatively cheap, right? So come at this side. Hope you have written the scientific name of the leech, that is Hirudino medicinalis. Leech. Leech belongs to the phylum Annelida. So suppose, students, this was a gene which code for our, right? This is gene code for hirudin. Code for hirudin. Right? This is a gene which code for hirudin. This was taken out, right? And this one, when this was taken out, this was inserted into the plants. That was a brassica napus. Right? They are inserted into the plant, that was a brassica napus. Because it is a scientific name, students, so I am underlining this. And when this GMO was, that was genetically modified crop. So this was a genetic modified crop. Right? The gene which code of hirudin was taken out from, this taken out from where? From Hirudino or Hirudo medicinalis. Sometime they ask this question that from where the hirudin was extracted. So you need to remember that leech name was the Hirudo medicinalis. So it was inserted into the brassica napus. So what exactly happened? When seeds were extracted, or you can say seeds were harvested. Seeds, when the seeds were harvested, they were having a rich source of what? They were rich source of hirudin, right? So the hirudin was taken out. When the hirudin was taken out, so they were having, what they were having? They were having hirudin, and later on this was purified and extracted. Hope you remember the exact name of the purification or the extraction, that is a downstream processing. In the previous chapter, we have studied about the downstream processing. You should know what exactly the downstream processing means. That means purification, extraction, and later on what we get is a hirudin. Right? So students, come at this side again. What was the case? We were using one leech, and leech is rich in one chemical which is called as a hirudin, and that is an anticoagulant or an anti-clotting agent. Right? We have taken out the gene for that, and we have used the recombinant DNA technology. Now students, I don't think so I need to tell you all those things, that the use of restriction enzymes, the use of the vector. I'm pretty sure that you all know about this this vectors and restriction endonuclease and various processes such as a PCR and the gel method, and later on this gene was inserted into the brassica nabus. Now this plant is called as a genetically modified crop. This crop, when it is harvested, the seeds were produced, right? When these seeds were produced, right, they are purified, they are extracted, and this is called as a downstream processing, and later on what we get is a hirudin, right, and they are used for the surgical processes, and they act as an anticoagulant. This is a naturally occurring anticoagulant, right? So students, this was all about today's lecture. We'll meet you in the next lecture. Till then, students, revise this. Take care. Thank you, students.